Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about romance in anime, TV shows, movies, and so on with your host, the Romantic Reviewer, right? Today we're going to talk about the movie Groundhog Day, right? It's with Bill Murray, who's the main actor, right? And then so the main actor is Bill, the female is Andy, right? So basically the movie is about so Bill is a news reporter, right? So he goes to a town to review the groundhog, which is an American tradition where the groundhog comes. Then you say if it's gonna be winter, it's gonna be spring, stuff like that, right? So it predicts the upcoming weather and whatever, right? So it goes there and reviews it, right? But like it covers the groundhog coming up, right? So that's what he does. Then the events happen. Like it happens that when he goes to sleep that day, right, because like he wants to leave town that day, but there's a snowstorm. So when the snowstorm comes, he can't leave, so he has to stay in the town. And then when he sleeps in the town, right, the day repeats itself. So it's called Groundhog Day, but he keeps repeating the same day. So he has to he's in this small town, he has to review the groundhog day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So he's stuck in that same day, right? So for those who haven't watched the movie, it's gonna be spoilers, obviously. So that's basically the movie premise. And then Andy's producer, right? So she helps him make the show and stuff like that. So I have a lot of things to get off my chest, right? So basically, Bill, the main actor, right, he's an absolute, like, the worst human being possible. He treats everybody badly. He's out for himself. He's selfish. He's arrogant and everything, right? And then Andy's just the female protagonist. He's just a decent human being, right? It's just just doing her job, trying to be nice and everything like that, right? So Bill, he uses the same he uses that day to do very bad stuff, right? So let me list off some stuff here, right? First of all, he predicts when the bank will transfer money to the bank. So he waits outside the bank, plans a way to steal the money, and he uses the money to buy expensive cars, expensive dinner. Terrible stuff. Terrible stuff, right? And then also with the time he has, he tricks women to sleep with him. So he basically repeats the day over and over again, so he can sleep with girls, because he knows what they're gonna say, what they're gonna ask and stuff like that. Terrible. And then so after he's slept with the women he wants to in the town, he focuses on Andy, the producer, right? Nice lady, very nice, very chilled. So he starts goes on a date with her, tries to sleep with her. It doesn't work. What does he do? He repeats it again. So he does it again and again. He lies to her, he scams her. Every terrible thing known to man, he does it. How do you make a movie where the good guy, right, does terrible stuff, right? How am I supposed to root for him or support him, right? So I was discussing with my friends, I was like he loves this movie, right? It's one of his favorite movies. So I'm like, but he's like, oh no, if you were in the same situation, you'd have done the same thing. No, I would not be a terrible human being like that, right? It's absolutely deplorable what he does, scamming people, terrible people, and it sends a bad message that your main actor is this terrible guy doing terrible things and everything. So then it begs the question. Let's say I was in Groundhog Day, right? I repeat the same day over and over again. Well, personally, I would use the day to read books, which he also does, right? But that's at the end, after it's done terrible stuff. Anyway, I would read books, go around, see the town, do other things and stuff like that, right? Other than being a terrible human being. And also another thing, right? In terms of the female lead, Andy, we don't really get to know anything about her, right? Her base character traits is just she's a producer and she's nice. I wish the producer, the writers, like elaborated more, gave her more of a storyline, gave her reasons, gave her a proper character, other than just focusing on the main actor. It was the whole point of the movie. At some point, became the only way you can get out of it was become a good guy, or like become a decent human being, and treat Andy with respect and honor and stuff like that, which is like a normal thing to do. Like everyone should be able to do that. Also, I would also add that they should also give like Bill sort of background. Like we can see his backstory, why he's like this. Because like the movie starts, and then he's just angry that he has to go to this small town, do this Groundhog Day thing. He has to be there. He's just terrible at the beginning. I don't know why. Like it was just given to us. Like, just like, oh, just take it as it is. He's just a terrible guy. Why? Why is he a terrible guy? Right? I mean, we have to elaborate on that, and also like Andy as well. Why is she like this? Why does she have this job? A bit of like a background, so we know the characters a bit more. And then I feel like the romance between them was a little bit forced, right? Like, so like we didn't have any other female leads, right? To see maybe he can choose between them, like give us a reason why he's choosing one or the other, right? It's just like, okay, this is the female lead, you have to get with her. Come hell or high water, you have to get with her. So as a viewer, I'm like, why? Well, what's the reason? And also, like, I couldn't support him. Like, after terrible things, like he does terrible things. At some point, I'm like, oh, he's changed. I have to root for him. What about the bunch of other stuff he did? He's a terrible person, right? He's a terrible person. I will not root for him. So that was my thinking when I was watching the movie. But other than that, the movie is decently like produced, right? The cinematography was not that bad. I like the different cuts between the scenes, the snow conditions were pretty nice. I mean, it's not a Christmas movie, right? Thank God they didn't make it a Christmas movie. Die Hard, which people are still talking about, like, oh, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? I mean, I watched Die Hard, right? Maybe I'll review that since there's romance in there, right? And that's what I do. But I don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Because it's made showing Christmas. Does it make that a Christmas movie? I don't know. You guys leave in the comments. We can discuss that. I don't think so, right? In my opinion, I don't think it's a Christmas movie. But yeah, Groundhog Day. I love the cover picture with him. Like, there's many different like cover pictures. I think for this video it's gonna be in a clock. So, or like he's holding a clock or something like that. I think that's pretty good when like the cover picture, like the main thing, has like something funny, something memorable, right? Something memorable, so you can point it and say, oh, I know that. So that's good. So I think Groundhog Day is one of those old classics, right, in terms of like romance and stuff. So I recommend you guys to watch it. It's very nice, very cool. And also like my grading, I think a 6. It's like it's above decent, right? It's above decent. Bill Murray is a goated actor, right? Fantastic. If you haven't watched any of his movies, I highly such a Bill Murray, like his top 10 movies. You gotta watch them. He's very good, right? I highly recommend that, right? So he's a very good actor. But I feel like sometimes characters are given roles, and the actor himself cannot portray the role. Like, let's say you choose like Idris Elba to play like a weak, pathetic main character. It doesn't sound believable, right? So sometimes like these actors, it's not like they can't portray the character. It's just like who they are, like their body size, maybe the way they talk, just aesthetics. It's not believable. So I feel like Bill Murray, the character they gave him, like he did the best he could, right? But I feel like it's not the right person to play that role. You need somebody who's believable as an asshole from the very get-go. And then we go like that, right? But other than that, movie was decent. It's a decent watch, right? Like I realized, like, I've watched like a lot of movies, mostly romance, animated movies, which I'll review, of course. but most movies are like decent. No, so my scale is like 1 to 10, right? So 10 being the best, 5 is like it's watchable, and 6 is above watchable. So I think 6. Most movies are like between 5 and 6, right? And in terms of romance, um, some movies they're the same theme. The movie have the same storyline, but different actors. So if you've watched one, you've kind of watched them all. So you shouldn't be looking to watch every single romance ever made. If you see a storyline that's similar or the same vibes, you probably you probably know the sorry, probably know the ending of it. So you shouldn't be watching like 5 movies with the same storyline. Doesn't really get you anywhere in my opinion. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Groundhog Day. If you guys have anything to say, anything you want to add on, I love reading comments, seeing different perspectives on movies. So looking forward to that. So I'll see you in the next video.